Are you so rich that you can just keep paying $400 every single week? Don't book your PTE exam unless you've done this step. Only 20% of the questions give you 80% of the marks. My exam is coming up in 2 days. Can you help me? No. Sorry. The reality is, it's very difficult even for people who I know who are native English speakers. Hello YouTube, it's been a very long time, but now we are back. We're gonna make a lot of videos for you guys, so let's get straight into it. You're here on YouTube and you're searching PTE, how to prepare for your exam. Now, this is a very big question. There's a lot of different ways that we can answer it, but in this video, I'm gonna try to keep it as brief as possible, get straight to the point, no nonsense, only practical advice, how to prepare for your PTE exam, depending on the score that you need, in 5 steps. Now, if you're somebody who's here just searching for tricks and hacks and shortcuts, and you're expecting to get 65 in PTE, 79 in PTE without a lot of hard work, unfortunately, this is the wrong video. This is the wrong page. This is only no nonsense advice. And yes, there will be some hard work involved. It's unavoidable, but you be the judge. After 1 or 2 minutes into this video, if you think that what I'm saying doesn't make any sense, give it a thumbs down. You can go leave and never watch another one of our videos. But if you feel like there is a kernel of truth and it does make sense, and this is very practical advice that you can use, please make sure to give it a like, subscribe, and we're gonna have a lot of videos coming up from you very soon. All right, so let's get into it. First of all, those of you who don't know me, my name is Alex from Dream English and Visa Consultancy. I've personally taught more than 4,500 students, so 4,500 students or more, how to pass their PTE exam with 50, 65, 79, and even 90 out of 90 in a lot of the cases. Again, you can check our results on Facebook and lots of videos, but you'll find that this is the truth. So I'm somebody who's very lazy when it comes to study, okay? I want to get from point A to point B in the most efficient way because this is what makes sense to me. Why would I spend all my time on the extra stuff? And a lot of people, when they actually understand how the PTE exam works, and when they actually understand how they ended up getting the score that they did, the first thing they tell me is, Alex, this exam is rubbish. It's not English, it's something else completely. So let's get into it. Here are the 5 steps how to pass the PTE exam. Step number 1, you have to understand the exam format, okay? So every test has a lot of different questions, and PTE is notorious for having even more questions than any other English exam. There's a lot of question types. There's more than 20 question types, and it's very overwhelming if you have no idea what you're doing, and this is the first time you're taking the exam. So let's get into some of the basics, and I'll try to show you as much as I can visually here in our practice platform, so it makes sense to you and you can understand how it works. All right. So first things first, the test is going to have 4 sections. We got our speaking, writing, reading, and listening. The most important being the fact that every single thing is connected. So when you're doing speaking, you're not just getting points in speaking, you're also getting points in your reading, but also in your listening section. When you're doing your writing, writing shares points with the reading, but reading also shares points with the writing. And finally, when you get to listening, listening gives you both points in your writing and points in your reading. So I know you're there thinking, I am so confused. There's a lot of different marks going a lot of different directions, but here's the key thing. This is a good thing for you. Yes, you watching this video, if you want to get a really good score in the minimum amount of time possible, you really need to understand this. Because let me give you an example. I have people coming to me all the time. They say, hey guys, I'd like to make an appointment. Can you please review my score? Tell me where I went wrong. My writing is really bad. I see their score and they failed their writing. So it makes sense, right? My writing is bad, that's why I failed writing. Wrong. If you failed writing, chances are you didn't fail your writing because of your writing. There's a much higher chance that you failed your writing because of the listening, because almost half of the points in your writing will come from listening. So look, you can watch lots of videos on our page as well. You can just search Dream English Education Exam Overview or PTE Exam Pattern. And you're going to find very in-depth videos explaining how does everything work. But the main idea here being is you must understand what sections share marks with what. Because in IELTS, and if you gave IELTS, you would know that it's a disaster, especially in the writing section. you really have to work hard on your writing. But here, if your writing is bad, you can get a lot of writing points from the other sections. And this is what we focus on. If you struggle in one area, you can make it up in another way. So let me explain a little bit more about what I mean with this. So again, if you want to understand the exam format, watch a lot of videos on our page, but the most important is that all of the sections are connected. So what you can do, you can sign up to different websites to practice, you can watch a lot of different videos, but just basically understand what is the speaking section, what is the sequence of the questions, how much time you're given to start, how long do you have to speak for, where do you have to click next. Okay, done. Next, we got the writing. Okay, easy. We only have 2 questions here. What do they look like? How many words I have to write? And how much time do I have? Okay, cool. All right, then we have the reading. Again, you can play with different question types. You can see how it works. Some of them you have to drag the words. Some of them you have to pick the words. Some of them you have to move the sentences to the right. In other questions, you can only pick one option, but in some of the rest, you can pick more than one option. So you need to understand the basic structure of this. And of course, the same thing goes for your listening. All right, so once you've got a bird's eye view of how the test works, now you're going to start zooming in into each of the questions. And this is the second part that I was talking about, is the question structure. So step 2, go through individual questions and understand the structure. And look, sit down in front of your computer on a website like this or another website, I don't really care, and literally try, okay, let's go with speaking today. I'm going to do 2-3 read alouds, 2-3 repeat sentences, 2-3 images and retell lectures and answer short questions. Okay, so when I did it like this, my mark was kind of low, but if I speak a little bit faster, it's higher. If I'm a little bit louder, my clarity, my percentage, my accuracy goes up. Okay, how come that if I wait too long to speak, my score decreases? Oh, because there's a lot of pauses, etc., etc., etc. So literally spend an hour, play around with different questions. It's like, honestly, like playing on your phone. If you play games on your phone, it's the same thing. You can see all the different questions, just get a basic idea how it works. Now, specifically, in speaking, you want to learn how long do you have to prepare for different questions, how long do you have to speak, when do you click next? Because clicking next right away when you're done is important. But for some questions, like in read aloud, for instance, you could finish in 10, 15, or 20 seconds, depending on the question length. But in other questions like describe image and retell lecture, you're supposed to speak for like 30 to 35 seconds out of 40. Because if you speak less, you get less points, right? And same thing for repeat sentences. Like if you don't click next right away, oftentimes if somebody's coughing sitting next to you at the test, it's actually going to record what they're saying and your mic is not going to turn off and it's going to think that you're pausing and you're making sounds. And because of that, the computer will keep recording your noise and it's going to lower your mark because of somebody else. So in the writing section, again, it's important to know the word limits. For example, in summarized written text, they don't tell you the limit in the question. I absolutely hate this, drives me nuts. But you need to know that it's 5 to 75 words maximum. So if I'm making sense so far to you, right? Probably it's going to make sense if I tell you 5 words is not enough and 75 is probably too much. So you want to be somewhere in between 50 to 60, 55 to 65. But things like this, again, you learn after playing with these questions. Same thing in the essay. When you go to the essay, they tell you 200 to 300. Well, back to common sense. If I need 79, but I'm writing 200 words, do you think you're going to get the best mark? Or maybe if I write 270 to 280, that's going to be a little bit better. Or if I cross the word limit by accident and I get 0 in the question, okay, I need to be careful with the word limit, right? In the reading itself, it's not so much technical stuff that you need to learn in terms of how the questions work, but you need to know as well how the marking works, specifically multiple choice, choose multiple answers, because it has negative marks. And reorder paragraphs because the marking is in pairs. It's not by whether you have the right sentence in the right spot, it's by pairs. So things like this you have to understand. Same thing for listening. There's a question called summarize spoken text that you need to know the word limit. That is 50 to 70. And then there's another question at the end called write from dictation, which is very important, as I'll tell you about more very shortly. So you need to know things like this. How does the exam format it for individual questions? What are the rules for the questions? What do I have to do? How many words do I have to write? So things like this, you guys must learn. All right, step number 3, you need to understand the marking breakdown of different questions. Again, I don't want to bore you to death. I'm trying to keep this short and simple. You can find a lot more videos later on different topics on our page. Literally just search Dream English Education, PTE, repeat sentences. Dream English Education, writing essay. So you can search more details about the different question types. But what's important, and I mentioned this a lot, the scoring in this test is disproportionate. Okay, the scoring is totally disproportionate. What do I mean by this? Okay, so what I mean by this is that, like, out of the 20 different question types, about 14 or 15 of them are pretty useless. Okay, so what do I mean by this? I don't mean they're useless in the sense that don't do them and skip them, etc., etc., etc. They're useless in the sense that they either give you 1 mark or 2 marks, which is not that much. If you get it wrong, it's not a big deal. If you make a couple of spelling mistakes in your essay, you're not going to fail your writing. But there are other questions that only 20% of the questions give you 80% of the marks. Again, you can search more videos on our page. I talk about this in a lot of detail all the time because people practice the wrong things. They practice multiple choice. They practice writing essays. They practice listening questions like selecting missing words. But they're not important. You could get them perfectly, but if you mess up one of the questions that gives you 20 points, you automatically fail. So again, to save you some time, and you can actually see this here on the website. On our website, I purposely asked our IT guys to make these questions very obvious, put them there, so my students and you guys watching only focus on this once you understand the exam structure and the marking breakdown. Those questions are: read aloud, very, very important for your speaking and your reading. Repeat sentences, very, very important for your speaking and your listening. Then I will group these together, which is the 2 types of fill in the blanks in reading. They give you a lot of points in reading and they're not easy. So this is something you should be practicing every single day, okay? Reorder paragraphs, not as important, but the most important one here is write from dictation. So look, if you only have half an hour per day, you have 1 hour per day, and all you're doing, once you understood the exact structure, is read aloud, repeat sentence, the fill in the blanks, and write from dictation. And you do that perfectly, as long as you're competent in the other tasks. And what I mean is, you're within the word limit, you're not making crazy mistakes like 20 spelling mistakes in one essay. A couple mistakes here and there are fine, as long as you're within the word limit and you're following the right structure. But if you focus only on these questions, read aloud, repeat sentences, fill in the blanks, and you write from dictation, they will account for almost 80% of all of your total marks in all 4 sections. Now, I haven't even mentioned writing, and I said all 4 sections. That is because your write from dictations and your reading and writing fill in the blanks will contribute to like more than a third of all of your points in writing. So do you see why I keep emphasizing and I keep repeating the same thing? All right, now if you're still watching, let's get to tip number 4. I will try to again find some screenshots here, and we get messages like this every day. Hello, sir. Love your videos. My exam is coming up in 2 days. Can you help me? No. Sorry. I can suggest to you how to postpone it, and then I can help you properly, but otherwise there's nothing we can do in 2 days. So again, if you're still watching and you expect some magic trick shortcut, I'm sorry to disappoint. You're going to need hard work. And specifically for number 4, step number 4 is you have to study for 4 to 6 weeks. You have to study for 4 to 6 weeks. Again, depending on the score you need, depending on your level, I know there's a lot of ifs and buts, but for most people, if you need 65 or 79, you need to spend 4 to 6 weeks, ideally minimum 1 hour per day. If you need 79, I would even suggest 2 hours per day. Now, I probably lost half of the audience watching because people are here on YouTube for easy shortcuts, right? But the reality is it's very difficult even for people who I know who are native English speakers. And just in the last couple of weeks, I had 2 students from Ireland, and they need 79 to increase their points for permanent residency. They cannot get 79. Native English speakers, very intelligent, like nurses who studied a lot in school in English, speak English every day, they have a hard time passing. So why do they keep failing? Back to number one and number two. They don't understand the structure, they don't understand the marking breakdown, and they focus on the wrong questions. All right, so you need to study for 4 to 6 weeks again, and make sure to watch till the very last step, because I'm going to explain how can you tell when you're ready or not. And the very last step, and guys, please do not book your test. Don't book your PTE exam unless you've done this step. This is the most important step, number 5. You have to test yourself. So what I mean by test yourself, back to common sense. Are you so rich that you can just keep paying $400 every single week? Do you think that if you fail by 5 or 10 marks, that by giving the exam every weekend, you're going to somehow magically improve? So the obvious question is no, but you would be surprised how many people come to us and they think PTE is all about luck. I met people who gave the exam more than 10, more than 20, even more than 30 times. And a lot of them will just keep going and booking every week. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't work to just keep paying for PTE all the time, right? So why should you do this? $400 is a lot of money for a lot of people, right? So why wouldn't you spend $20, $30, or $40 to make sure you're ready? And then when you're ready, then you spend $400 only one time. So you don't need to book it again and again and again. So what I mean is, for step number 5, you have to do mock tests. Now, again, I'm not telling you to buy our mock tests. I'm not telling you to go on our website. I don't really care. We have enough customers as it is, enough students as it is. But I just want to give you some practical advice, okay? Again, there's some mock tests which are better than others. For example, the one on the PTE website is quite accurate, but you have to have the right headset. If you don't have the right headset, the score is low and you don't get a good mark. There's other very popular websites who are made, let's say, for Chinese speakers. And Chinese speakers get a good score, but I go on them and I get a bad score. So again, do your own research about which websites are better, which ones are worse. But for example, in our website, whenever anybody finishes their classes, they always give mock tests. And I tell them, I am not responsible for your result if you don't give mock tests. So this is what it looks like. And as you can see, this student in particular was getting ready to get 79 in their test, and they get pretty close to 79, 75, 77, 79, and one section is 64. So why is this important? Again, I'm not saying take our classes. So why is this important is if you see that you're so intelligent and you're very close to 79, you just need a little bit of hard work in reading, speaking, and writing. You can achieve this by yourself. You don't need me. You don't need any other tutors. You don't need to go anywhere else. This person can easily go from 75, 77, 79 to 80 plus, no problem. But in listening, that's a big gap between 79 and 64. So as soon as I see this, I tell that person right away, you are messing up your repeat sentences. Now, even if you don't take classes with me, I don't care. I'm most of the time booked out. And I apologize for being so straightforward, but I just want to give you guys no nonsense. But this person can understand that because of their listening score being so low, they're struggling with repeat sentences. So let them go on the Dream English YouTube channel and watch our videos on repeat sentences. We have a lot of them. And then they will understand, oh, I keep breaking the sequence. I keep doing this part correct. Now, I don't need to take class with Alex, but by watching 5 of his videos, I realize what mistake I'm making. Let me try to practice in this new way with these new tricks and then do another mock test. And maybe listening goes to 77, 78, right? So again, this person, I would not let them go for the exam because they're clearly not ready. So they could focus on the other sections, but they really need some help in their listening and most likely repeat sentences, possibly retell lecture, possibly summarize spoken text. So anytime somebody messages us with this score, this is exactly what I tell them, that they need to work on those 3 questions. So guys, this is it. I hope it was valuable. As you promised me, if you're still watching, give it a like, subscribe, leave a comment on what else you'd like to see. And again, you don't need to sign up for our classes or buy anything from us. But if you are preparing and you thought this video was valuable, I'll make sure to link to our website and courses that you can check it out for yourself. This is Alex. Until the next video, see you later. Good luck studying. I hope you pass. I hope you get a really great score. And when you do let me know. I'd be happy to hear it. Bye-bye. Bye.